But if you close your eyes.
Hey guys, it's Brooke. So today I'm going to be doing a story time, and I've had a lot of story times requested, but I'm just going to talk about how I started cheer. I hope you all enjoy this video. I haven't planned it, so it's just going to be very like story time. Like I'm just going to talk about what happened. So yeah, hope you all enjoy it. So growing up, I was very active. I tried so many sports. I think that my family just kind of like, or my parents just kind of like put me in different sports to like keep me active, which is, thank you, because it's important for kids to stay active. When I was 4 years old, my mom put me and my sisters in dance. So when I was 4, 5, and 6, I did a ballet / tap class for like little kids. When I was 7 and 8, I did a cheer jazz class, which it wasn't cheer. Like we didn't tumble. The only stunts we did were like thigh stands. I mean, it was cheer. It was a cheer class though. It was not like a team, but it was also like a jazz class. So we did like just like dances, but we kind of like incorporated some cheer things like cartwheels, and we had pom-poms and stuff like that. So I did that for 2 years, and then I stopped dancing. My mom just kind of put me and my sister in other sports. You know, like one summer we did softball, hated that. Did basketball with some of my friends in 6th grade. Me and my sisters all did a swimming camp one summer. Like just, my parents just kind of put us in sports to like keep us active, and give us something to do and help us to like find something that we love to do. So my older sister, she's 2 years older than me, played tennis in junior high. And she kind of encouraged me to like try it out. And I was like, okay, sure. And I already knew some people because of my sister's friends that were in like the tennis class. And I was actually pretty good at it for a 7th grader. I was pretty good. We had an A team and a B team, and there was only 3 7th graders on A team, and I was one of them, and I was like, wow. So I enjoyed tennis. It was just a class in 7th grade. In 8th grade, I did tennis after school, and I just really didn't like it. Like I liked it just as a class, but I didn't like it to where it was like we're practicing for hours and we're conditioning, and I didn't look forward to going to tennis practices. It felt like it was too much work and too much conditioning, but it wasn't worth it because I didn't like the sport enough to continue with that. So tennis was the first sport where I was like, yes, I want to do this, and it wasn't just like my mom put me in a sport because, you know, I was in 7th grade. That's around the age where I feel like you kind of are making those decisions of like, oh, I want to do this sport. I still enjoy tennis to where like I'll just go play tennis with my sister, play tennis with a friend. I'm not very good at it at all because I don't practice, but it's fun. I enjoy it, but it wasn't worth all of my time, and I was like, I want to do something else. My mom said, okay, well, that's totally fine if you don't do tennis, but I want you to be a part of like a team sport. And so I was like, okay. And so we kind of just started talking about what that could look like. We talked about like going back to dance, stuff like that. And then she kind of just out of nowhere was like, do you want to cheer next year in high school? And I was like, I don't know. I don't really think so. And then I kind of thought about it, and I decided that yes, I do want to try out for high school cheer. So I tried my 8th grade year to cheer in 9th grade. And over the years, I had taken a tumbling class over the years. 1 year when I was like in 4th grade, I took a tumbling class with my 2 best friends, but I wasn't like I honestly couldn't even tell you what skills I was working on. I have absolutely no idea. I just did it to be with my friends. I know I was working like front flips on trampoline, but other than that, I couldn't tell you. Like I definitely didn't have back handspring, but I did, because of that tumbling class, I knew how to do a round off. I don't remember learning a round off. I don't remember learning anything in that class, honestly. I just remember like having fun with my friends, and that we would like carpool and go after school once a week. My mom put me in a tumbling class at a small gym called Jim Tyler Twisters. It was actually called Jim Tyler Gymnastics, yeah. And I started working on my round back handspring. That was my goal for tryouts. I joined tumbling October-ish, I think, of my 8th grade year. September-ish, I don't know, near the beginning of the school year, because I had stopped tennis like that summer. So I was working on my round back handspring and my standing back handspring at the same time. A week before Christmas break, we had a tumbling class, and then they cut it early to have us like play some fun games because, you know, it's Christmas break. So one of the games we played was Ships and Sailors, or Boat, or Shipwrecked. If you don't know what it is, look it up. A lot of times they'll say like something along the lines of get in a group of 4 and there's like 5 people left, so whoever doesn't get in the group is out. So I didn't wear shoes. I never wear shoes to tumbling because for some reason I was afraid I was gonna like kick the coach. So stupid. It doesn't make a difference if you're wearing shoes or not. But I wasn't wearing shoes, and there was this girl on my team who was like a little bit bigger than me, very, very strong, and definitely taller than me. And we were playing and there was like 3 of us left, and she accidentally like basically trampled me. And she like accidentally, I didn't even tell her about this until a year later, but she accidentally like stomped on my foot really hard, and I like fell down and it twisted, and I was like, ah, that hurt, but I didn't say anything. I was just like, ah, I'm out. I was just kind of limping, and my mom was like, you know, if it still hurts after Christmas, like we'll look at it, whatever. So I have a pretty high pain tolerance, and I also feel like there have been times where I've been like, I just broke my toe and it feels fine the next day, and then there have been times where I'm like, I'm fine, and I have a concussion. So like I just don't have a lot of body awareness, I guess. I was talking to the doctor, and they were like, she broke her foot in 2 places. So there was a hairline fracture in one of my toes. I don't know why I'm pointing to my foot as if y'all can see it. There's a hairline fracture on one of my toes, and then I broke the bone underneath my other toe. So it wasn't like serious, but I did have to wear a boot for, I think it was 6 weeks. This was like starting in January. So I had to wear the boot, so I couldn't go to tumbling. After thinking about it, I was like, after I get out of my boot, like I'm gonna have to start, you know, slowly getting back into it, so I won't be able to tumble for like 6 weeks at least. So by that time, it would have been like 2 weeks until tryouts, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get my back handspring for tryouts, which I needed. Because 2 weeks just like wasn't enough time. I didn't even have it on the spring floor yet. I decided, yes, I'm not trying out for school cheer. And I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, but I really want to try out for school cheer. Like, I think cheer would be fun. And she was like, why don't you try the competitive team? And I was like, oh. Like, I just, like, forgot that that was a thing. Like, I had friends that did competitive cheerleading, but y'all have to remember, like, if you're from a small town, you understand. My town wasn't tiny, but I grew up in East Texas. For how big the city was, which it's not that big, but it's not tiny, there was like 2 cheer gyms. I very much like slowly got into the cheer world of like understanding like, oh, worlds, and oh, cheer sport, and like, oh, hitting zero and stuff like that. So my mom suggested, why don't you try out to be a part of the cheer program at Jim Tyler Gymnastics? So the cheer program is called Jim Tyler Twisters. So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I decided to try out. By then it was like May, so my foot was good. Still didn't have a back handspring though. And they had a youth 1, a junior 2, and a senior 3. So they put me on a junior 2, which is what I wanted and what I expected. I had a lot of the junior coaches at the gym were like, you should be on senior 3. And I remember thinking, why? I've never cheered in my life. Why should I be on a senior 3? I should not be on a senior 3. I just remember at our first tumbling clinic, I realized that like I knew some girls, like they went to my school or they lived near me or whatever. And I remember back spotting preps at that clinic and just thinking like, this is so much fun. Like I love back spotting. Like I felt like it was almost like natural for me to just know what to do as a back spot. Like I definitely had to learn grips, and I mean it's not that hard in a prep, hold ankles, but I just remember like having so much fun. Every cheer gym is different, and I did start at a very tiny gym. Like that gym right now, I think they just have like 1 or 2 prep teams. Like they don't have this huge cheer program, they're mostly rec. I personally like where I started cheering because I feel like it brought me into the sport slowly, so I wasn't like overwhelmed, and it didn't intimidate me because I was older, and that definitely was in the back of my mind. Like, I mean, I was never like, maybe I shouldn't cheer, I'm too old, but I did notice like most of the other girls in the same like tumbling clinic as me or on something the same level as me are a lot younger than me. Like that just, which is something I expected, but it's also just like, you know, that's in the back of your head as an older kid. I also remember absolutely loving my first competition. We won our first competition. That was the only competition I won. The next 3 years I cheered. That was the only competition I won. But I remember having so much fun, and it just, first of all, I didn't realize how much I loved to perform. And I remember my sister came to my competition and my mom, and they were like, we did not know that you could like be sassy like that. Because when I started cheerleading, I was so shy. I talked to people, but I was so shy. Like I wouldn't be the kind of like outgoing and like does all the facials and is super sassy cheerleader, but like that's just kind of what I turned into whenever I was like in my cheer uniform performing at a competition. When I first started cheer, because that's what the story is about, I realized like this is fun. I am definitely driven by being challenged. I'm definitely goal oriented. I love competing and I love performing. Like all 5 of those things were just a reason for me to just like fall in love with the sport and be like, I'm doing this again and I want to do it for as long as I can. And then I figured I would stop after I graduated, but I'm a junior in college and still love the sport. So yeah, basically I started cheering because my mom wanted me to be involved in a team sport, and I broke my foot and couldn't try out for school cheer, so I decided to start competitive. And I absolutely loved it. So yeah, if y'all have any questions about my cheer story or want to know any other story times, let me know. I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye.